Today's shadow work is going to be different. There won't be any meditation work today. Since we have created our own special place for our shadow child and us to live in, today we are going to begin work planning for the next few days in what many psychologists call reparenting. Now, reparenting is a controversial form of psychotherapy in which the therapist actively assumes the role of a new and surrogate parental figure for the client. But we're not going to do anything controversial here. Why? Because we don't need any therapist to take on a role of a parent for our shadow child. The only parent the shadow child needs is you. Only you know best. In our version of reparenting, you give to yourself what you didn't receive as a child. No, I'm not talking about the PlayStation you didn't receive on Christmas, although if you really wanted to buy one, no one is stopping you. Instead, it is things your shadow child lacked growing up. Perhaps it could be love, discipline. These can lead to things like codependence, things that have now manifested in your life as anxieties, depression, or other negative energies that are holding you back in your manifesting powers to a brighter future. When we claim our future, we take our victimhood away and return the power back to ourselves through reparenting as our own responsibility. For some of you, this may take some time, certainly more than 24 hours, but only you know how long you would need. Dr. Nicole LePera of Holistic Psychologist calls the 4 pillars of reparenting as discipline, joy, emotional regulation, and self-care. Now, for everybody, we all lack different things growing up. So it is essential for you to get deep within yourself and understand what you need to reparent yourself. For example, you could lack discipline, where you would need habit or ritual development. Do you have mental resistance when you need to get up early to do meditating or go to the gym? Perhaps this is an area you would need to work on. Are you too uptight, too serious? Maybe joy is something you need to integrate into your reparenting. Find some play in your life, get genuine human connections, or find a new interest or hobby, or dust the old one you've been told is only for little children. What about the stamp collecting that made everybody in school call you a nerd? Forget about them. Where are they now? Not on a journey to being a sacred master, that's for sure. Emotional regulations are people who have troubles navigating the highs and lows of life. Oftentimes, our shadow child has not been guided to regulate our emotions. We can begin reparenting with work such as meditation, breath work, consciousness awareness. What about not knowing about self-care? Do you find yourself eating junk food, smoking too much, drinking excessively? It'll be good if you stop it, but I know for some of you this is now tied in so closely to your lifestyle that is a whole topic on its own. But even small steps towards self-care, such as sleep, nutrition, movement, connection with nature, are steps you can take to reparent your inner child. Each of you will have your own individual things you need to work on. So personal honesty here is the key in the success of your own shadow work. All you really need is just a pen and paper. If you're like me and want an actual journal, I've posted links in the description boxes, some of the journals that I bought for both my shadow work and manifesting. So see if you like any of them. I've often find that investing, even in something small, gives a special meaning to it. But if you opt for a pen and paper, I want you to make sure that nobody sees this. This is just between you and your shadow child only. By keeping it private, you'll be able to bring about more personal honesty. So go ahead and divide your paper into 3 categories, or 3 pages, depending. The first category are all the dark and negative blockages in your life, the narrative you tell yourself. You can use Module 3's meditation and ask your shadow child within your Merkaba home. Some of you may revisit childhood memories. If you do, pay attention to when you feel dark and negative, such as being lost, uncertain, or alone. Write them all down as a list. When did you not feel safe? Were you shamed for having your own opinions? Scorned for being spontaneous? Has somebody verbally criticized or abused you? As you are writing it all down, if you find that there is something more serious like sexual abuse or assault, please seek more personal help. There are professionals who can give you extra support for tougher memories, so don't feel ashamed of it. It's not your fault. Remember, you can't heal what you can't feel. The next category you would write down is the opposite of your own narration. But here's the thing. Write it on the third column, and you'll see why soon. This is the new narrative you and your shadow child want to have. Suppose you thought that it was not okay to have your own opinions. On the second category, we're going to write the exact opposite. We write down, it is okay to have my own opinion, and I will be respected for it. Try to add a little something more to it. In my case, I added, I will be respected for it. The reason why you should do that is that your new narrative is given more power than your old narrative. If your old narrative is just, it is not okay to have my own opinion, then your new narrative is already that much more powerful. So you could write, I wasn't given enough physical affection as a child, can become, everybody loves to give me hugs, kisses, and cuddles because they find me extremely lovable. So start by changing all those emotional, psychological, and physical neglect and start rewriting your story now. The last category is what I call the string category. This is the middle. In here, you will do all the connecting dots. You want to go from your old narration to your new narration. That's why I said before to write the new narrative on the third column. Now you can see your plan is starting to look like a real journey. How do you plan on reparenting an old narrative to a new narrative? You can go to your Merkaba home, pretend it is like an orphanage, and your shadow child is now living with you. You look at it with so much love, and you know you want to take this little child from they cannot have their own opinion to encouraging them to have their own opinion. Plus, you will give them the encouragement and respect for it. You are not just having an internal dialogue with your shadow child now. Writing on this paper is also a statement on how you, like Superman, am going to act this out for the world and show your shadow child that it has nothing to be afraid of anymore. You, being the brave one, the sacred master, will go out to the real world and prove that having an opinion can make you respected. And you will collect all the proof for your shadow child as well. But one warning before you do. I do not encourage any activities where you take free will, hurt or harm another being in the universe. All your actions must come from love. So if you give an opinion, give it out of love. To give it a bad energy means that there is another shadow aspect of you and your shadow child that you miss. Go back in and dive deeper to find this. It could stem from another repressed and possibly lost childhood memory. So now you have it, your private list for your reparenting work with your shadow child. I want you to use Module 3's Merkaba meditation and share this list with your shadow child. Perhaps they can help provide some insight and share with you something that you may have missed. Hold on to this list for 24 hours and keep checking back with your thoughts and adding to it. If you begin the next module and feel that you need to add to it, just go right ahead. Your list is a no judgment zone. The only one who can judge your list is you. Even your shadow child cannot do that, because this list is about reparenting them. And at times you might find them scared and lonely. Your goal right now is to turn them from scared creatures and into sacred ones, enlightened by your love. If you want to give some encouragement to your fellow sacred masters, post how many are on your list that you have found within. You don't have to share details. But I've known some people to feel dejected and disheartened by how many is on their list. Encourage each other that we are all in this together. It's not a competition to see who finishes first. We never do. It's part of our spiritual journey. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and the notification button, where over time I will post more tips to help you find more hidden and hard to find shadow aspects of yourself as we continue on this journey together. Good luck on your journals, Sacred Masters. Namaste.